Did you press record?
I pressed record.
Cool.
I pressed record before anything else.
Okay.
But I was telling you, I come down first, I turn on all the lights. It's very exhausting.
Exhausting.
Well, I got to make sure, because the one behind you, you guys can't see it in his
Wasn't
camera.
that off 2 episodes ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot that one. Because the cord is stretched perfectly. And if you give it just a little yank, all the dolls will start falling down.
Can't have falling dolls.
And
no.
you can't quite see the Simpsons arcade cabinet behind you, but it's behind you.
You can see on my screen. You can see is that the Lisa or the Marge?
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
One of the
but
knobs.
yeah, I just don't want to dent the cabinet. Blobbity blobbity.
Oh yeah, I can see Londo in my shot too. My doll edition from last week. It's
yes,
great. Londo's just chilling out. Jakar's out of frame. He's too high up. That's
too
annoying. I'll fix that for next time.
But I mean, it works for the character. They're always trying to gain
One
the
up
upper
one
hand.
another. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get there.
I see you went Celsius.
So I was watching. This may be the second Theo Von episode I've ever watched, but I watched a Theo Von podcast and he's got them everywhere. They are like actually sponsoring him. Because he's famous.
Right.
But so he had I watched the Ben Affleck one because The Accountant's out, or Accountant 2, which we're going to go see, I think, next week if it's still in theaters.
Mm-hmm. It should be.
It should be.
Hopefully. Or straight to video.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, we'll stream it if not, but so I wanted to see an interview because I had this weird I don't like that guy knee-jerk reaction, which is why I never watched The Accountant 1 until last week. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that movie was great.
Yeah, it's really good.
So then, I guess in promotion of The Accountant 2, this interview with Theo Von dropped, and it's the first long form I've ever seen Ben Affleck in ever, and I was like, oh, no, he just hates paparazzi and aspects of Hollywood, but he's probably a dude I could get a beer with or something.
Yeah, he seems like a normal enough guy.
Yeah, he seems pretty normal.
I love the often meme photo of him leaning up with, I guess, a cigarette.
Yes. He's talking about that one. He was just you're at your kid's birthday party, you go out and you see a paparazzi. What expression do you make? I'm like, fair. Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
I think the internet, assumed it was something to do with Jennifer Lopez, but
also fair if that's what happened. So
speaking of theaters,
yes.
I had hoped this weekend to go see Revenge of the Sith, which had been
for the 20th
re-released,
anniversary,
which is nice.
Which outperformed any expectation in the theater.
And outperformed many other new releases,
including new Disney releases.
Yeah, and so I don't know if this is true or not, because I had looked, I want to say Monday, to see the showtimes throughout the week, and it's okay, it's consistently playing at 7 at night.
Right.
So I'll wait for the weekend. Old man. Don't want to stay up too late.
No. That means getting home at 9:30 or 10. Who wants to do that?
Right. So then I see a video come through my YouTube feed on Thursday. I don't know if this is true, but they had said, Star Wars fans pissed that Disney yanked Star Wars for Thunderbolts. Because apparently it's performing so well, they didn't want the cross-pollination of the target audience.
Disney executives who watch this show.
All of you
who watch this show. None of us care about Thunderbolts. You can't make us care about Thunderbolts.
No.
Star Wars being in theater or not being in theater, irrelevant. No one was going to see that movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So from what I've heard, it's the best in the post
Infinity War, yeah. I mean, again, that's fastest one-legged man.
Right. It's the pile of poop that smells the least bad.
Right. So being the least terrible movie, not really prize-worthy. Also, when your top billing character is Winter Soldier, who is a character I like.
Yeah. Who should have been Captain America.
Who is Captain America in my book. But that's kind of, Bucky got the shield way more than Sam did. But, maybe you're out of characters.
Maybe.
I mean...
Or you just have your Marvel formula. We need this number of action scenes, this many set pieces.
The Skybeam happens at this minute in this second.
We need 24 jokes.
Right.
No more, no less.
And because it worked well for Guardians, we need to make it themed around music from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Oh, so I was thinking about that because Guardians was a lot of fun, the first one.
Yeah.
And actually, I did like Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok was tons of fun.
But I think that was kind of the decline.
That was when Marvel decided it was a comedy studio.
Look, Guardians is wacky. It's full of jokes. Everyone loves it. Let's get a comic director.
Right. Taika Waititi, who's phenomenal in his lane.
Yep. And I think he did a good job with that movie. But it was a deviation from who Thor was.
Right. They made Thor... I mean, Thor is one of the most important and powerful and heroic leaders in the comic books, and they made him the punchline of every joke.
Yeah.
And
kind of continued with that when they made him the dude in...
Right,
Infinity,
when he was the Big Lebowski, the dude.
Endgame.
And was that Endgame?
That was Endgame, because he had failed his mission. And
so he just was
became
fat Thor.
Yeah, was just playing Halo or Call of Duty or something.
Right, and trash talk. As I understand that, though.
Drinking lots of beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny, but...
Again...
A deviation from
his
it worked
character.
for the MCU.
Yes, but it's not actually Thor.
Yeah. But I'm disappointed. I mean, Revenge of the Sith is... So I'm one of those weirdos who actually prefers The Phantom Menace, and I think it's because it was still filmed on film and on live locations with sets. They did do some sets in the other two subsequent films, but it was mostly we've seen the behind the scenes. Yes. It's a bunch of green screen or blue screen, depending.
A lot of standing and talking, walking and talking.
Yes, shot, reverse shot.
Reverse shot.
Yeah, I still like them because it was George Lucas's vision. It was still Star Wars because it was about...
It just was Star Wars without sane people telling George Lucas no.
Yeah.
Because that's what made particularly... A New Hope and Empire work.
Yes. So. Yeah, but so slightly disappointed because that was kind of my back of the mind plan for the weekend. Go see it. I saw it when it came out. I think I went to a midnight showing.
Probably back then we could have gotten away with that. Back then we were in our 20s.
Yeah,
so
young enough.
Early 20s, early mid. Yeah,
I probably did that. Got home at 3 and went to work the next morning.
And I'm like, I'm still good at my job, and I can talk to people. Yeah,
and then after work I'll go out for happy hour and have some beers, and still
everything will be fine because I'm in my 20s and consequences don't exist for me.
Oh my gosh, being old.
Wasted on 20-year-olds, man. What I wouldn't give.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and this week I had... So for my work, we have to cover the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep. Yeah.
We have two guys that cover the latter half of the day. One has been away for a family tragedy and is coming back. And then the other one had a last minute thing where he had to go out of town. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll cover.
You'll cover later.
I'll come in 10 to 6, make sure we're covered. I only had to do it for 3 days because we had someone else who could do the other two.
Right.
But yeah, I was telling you, I think it was Thursday I shifted back. So I left the office at like 6:30, got home around 7:30.
Yeah.
Woke up at 5:30.
And got to work around
went
6
back to work.
something.
It was like adjusting to a time change if you're going overseas or something.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. Like,
so I spent the entirety of Thursday, the wife and I were just like, okay, we're not doing anything. We're ordering pizza, even though we feel disgusting, and we're just gonna lay around and eat pizza and watch TV, and that's all we did. And I feel a lot better now.
Clearly, yeah. That's
being old. Yeah. It's a thing.
Roll credits.
I used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
Oh, yeah. So on the theme of being old and too much to do, so spring has sprung.
It has.
Weather is improving.
It is. It is nice out
today. And everyone who had crawled into their cave for winter is now coming out of their cave, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to be in town. Oh, hey, what are you doing this week? Oh, hey. I'm like, dude, a job, a family,
and a very important podcast that you film.
Most important podcast. So yeah, it was just one of those weird weeks where 3 different people who used to live around here are going to be in town and they all want to get together. I'm like, okay. And then out of the blue, 2 other people that live around here that I hadn't heard from in a little bit are like, oh, hey, what are you up to? I'm like, stuff. I'm up to stuff.
Doing things.
And it was my wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
15 happy years. And Mother's Day is around the corner.
Yes, it is.
So it's just every single day there's something. There's no rest. I wound up using sick leave. I was not feeling well yesterday. So I had to leave the office early, not to do all the chores that have piled up. I was not feeling well about the chores that had piled up. Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, I left early Friday too because the week, even though I felt better on Friday, I was just kind of burned out. and Fridays are very slow. It's like, I'm just
My
going to
day
call it a half
happened
day.
to also be very slow. Like, a lot of my projects are wrapped up, and yeah. Anyway. No one cares about my job.
No, but, I came in, I told you, I walked into 2 disasters happening at the same time, so that 4 hours that I did work were very
full. Full 4 hours.
A full 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that was at least nice. And I was like, okay, everything's solved now. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
I'm also waiting for one of my worst communicating friends to communicate that he's on his way to my house, which will be, the determining factor of how the whole schedule of my day and 2 other friends who are all meeting. And he could be 5 minutes from my house right now and just didn't bother to text me.
So speaking of being in our 20s, remember that?
I do.
And you were the social hub. So
Dude,
all plans kind of went through you.
me. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like I can't square that with how I am now because like I don't want to anymore. Like
Right.
I got it out of my system in my 20s. I'm so fine being at home with my family and like reading a book or watching a show together or something. Like I do not need that level. I used to need it. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching a show,
I guess we watched Babylon 5.
we watched Babylon 5, and now we're going to babble on about Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Insert clip. Episode 10 of Season 1.
Believers. I will say just off the bat, quite a contrast from how I viewed it in youth versus how I'm viewing it today.
Yeah?
In youth, I was like, those crazy aliens and their religious beliefs. And today, I'm just like, that egomaniacal doctor and his disregard for parental rights.
Yeah.
Like, this is a tough one.
This, to me, was one of the more Star Trekian episodes of
Very
Babylon
much
5.
so.
A morality tale.
It's a morality tale. It's an episode of the week. You could remove it from the show entirely, and it would have no bearing on where the show goes. But you do get some really interesting themes, which Straczynski loves.
There's a fly in here.
There is a fly in here. Straczynski loves complicated themes. It's with what was the name of that villain from the last one?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
No.
Something about like Life Giver.
Yeah. So I mean that was like what would you do about Hitler? So I mean he loves these complicated moral questions of like okay, if Hitler actually had something valuable to give humanity, what would you do? Well, let's tell that in science fiction, and now it's okay. Here's where the morality of these faith-based people come up against the morality of a doctor, and who's right?
Yeah.
Very difficult question.
So this is my first note that I took is the phrase "food animal."
Food animal is my favorite. I called you a food animal yesterday.
Did you see my reply hours later?
Yeah.
I was like, I just finished watching B5. Now I know why you called me a food animal.
Yes.
Food animals.
Raffle emoji.
Yes, raffle emoji. So, this alien race, who I've already forgotten the name of,
me too.
It's irrelevant. They don't ever come back in.
Nope.
Or if they do, well, shame me later.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a deeply held spiritual belief that cutting open a spirit-filled being releases their spirit, basically making them a shell or a demon-filled host. And the only thing you can cut are food animals because they don't have spirits. So
yeah, they are one of the chosen, born of the egg.
Born of the egg. Yep. Mm-hmm. They're very stern.
But
they do love one another. It's
clearly.
They love their boy. They want to see him made well.
So what's happening is their boy Sean.
S-H-O-N.
Yeah,
because
I looked it
we
up
don't have enough spellings of it's S-H-A-W-N
or S-H-A-U-N.
I will allow that derivation.
But
I
not
will
seen.
not allow scene.
No, sorry, scene.
Sorry, scene. Your name is Scene. I've had this conversation with several Scenes. Your name is Scene. Your parents didn't love you enough to put an H in your name. That's not on me. That is not on me. That's on you. Work that out with your mom and dad.
Fighting words. So their son Sean has a problem with fluid filling in his lungs. It could easily be fixed with surgery.
With surgery, yep.
But they refuse to do it for the aforementioned
religious reasons.
And so our beloved doctor he's really torn about this whole thing because he starts off wanting to respect their beliefs,
yes,
but
seemingly.
also wanting to save a life.
Like he and his co-doctor Hernandez seem to be at opposite ends. Like she seems to be the one who wants to push, and he seems to be the one that wants to pump the brakes. But then you see another side of him where he's like, actually, I want them to get desperate so that they come around to my way of thinking.
Yes.
And one of the things I noticed in almost every scene, there's one or two that contradict this, but in almost every scene where Franklin's talking about it, it's so much more about him being right than it is about helping the kid.
Yeah.
It's really about his ego.
Yes.
And I did not pick that up 20 years ago when I watched it. 20 years ago, I was like, why aren't they helping their kid?
Yeah, it's like you can clearly fix him.
Yeah.
It's a cuckoo belief.
Right.
If I've had surgery, I'm pretty sure my spirit is still intact.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know. It's like, does my minor arthroscopic surgery count? Can my spirit get out of a hole that big?
I mean, yeah, the incision was only like
spirits
big for me.
are this big. So,
I think I'm okay. Couldn't quite squeeze out.
Couldn't squeeze out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what you do is you weigh yourself before surgery and after.
Oh yeah, 21 grams.
21 grams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a cool that's
interesting. Whole nother.
Yes.
Maybe another conspiracy corner another day.
Maybe
we're not prepared for that.
I have to
one.
research that one. I have not.
No.
Yeah, but watching this episode, I remembered it, but I didn't remember every detail. I just remembered the overall plot, and I thought that it was Hernandez who was going to step over the line,
right?
Based on how it started.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, and we'll talk about as it progresses.
Right. So we're getting ahead of ourselves, obviously, because there's so much to talk about. On top of the main storyline, there's a very minor B plot with Ivanova. She's gone a little stir crazy being in command and control.
Yeah.
A freighter called the Asimov. I see what you did there. Huge fan of Asimov's writing. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a book by its Apple TV adaptations. Foundation is so ridiculously good as a novel series, and the Foundation TV show is good, but has nothing to do with almost nothing to do with the books. Anyway. So she very heavy-handedly convinces Sinclair to let her go out in the fighter waiting to go rescue.
He was going to, I think, get Garibaldi to go on the escort mission, and she's like...
I've got 100 flight hours, and just did a little temper tantrum, which was, And
he's like, I've got a grand idea.
My own original idea.
How about I send you? He's like, if you really want to.
Right. So looking at my notes... we kind of have already gotten to this point where Franklin is basically going along with the parents, offering them
an alternative
mineral oil and rest, and basically they're going to put the boy in med bay and watch him get worse, and he hopes that's enough to pull their heartstrings to come around to his way of thinking. But he just does not get that they sincerely believe what they believe.
Yes,
and that's not going to change just because their son gets worse. This is a real faith.
Right. And that's what's really interesting as this show goes on, is they bring faith, religion, God into a lot of this.
Yes.
And so the doc, Franklin, had gone to speak to Sheridan and basically say, I need you basically to order me or go to this extreme so I can perform the surgery and save this kid's life. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that. That sets a precedent.
Right. And then he's like, well, you already set that precedent by operating on Kosh. And he was like, yeah, but
his something was like, that's the head of the camel in the tent. And if I do this, that's the whole camel.
That's the whole camel. And you can also see, he was trying to avoid the equivalent of an international incident.
Right. So Babylon 5 is an Earth base.
Right. So
but they're letting...
If Kosh died, he was worried that the Vorlons would retaliate, and now if they intervene helping this less powerful species, he's worried that they're going to see Earth as meddling, as overextending.
You come here, then you're
under Earth law. You're under Earth. Yeah.
Your laws, your values, your faith are meaningless here. You have to follow
do what humanity does.
So that was interesting, and so at the same time, if I'm jumping ahead of what you have, let me know. No. The parents then also go to Sinclair. And they're basically saying, we don't want this to happen.
Right.
And if the doctor does this, we're going to kill him.
Yeah. If he we're going to kill Franklin. They make it very clear, the father makes a vow that, if they operate on my boy, I will kill Franklin.
Yes. And he didn't say it, aggressively. It was just very matter of fact.
Basically, my hands are tied. You have put me in a position by my faith that I now have to kill the man that turned my son into a demon.
Yep.
Like,
so Franklin doesn't give them the answer that they want.
No.
And they say, so we see that it's just that Earth rules, essentially. And that's just, it is what it is. And he's like, well, I'm sorry that you assume that.
Right.
And then so they start going around to all the ambassadors. This is a great moment.
I love the going around to the ambassadors because it really shows you, again, because we're diving into cultural values here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see from the way each race says no to these people. And they all do.
They do.
You get the Narn, the Centauri, the Minbari, and the Vorlon all say no in their own unique ways, and it kind of gives you an insight into each.
Yes.
Like, Jakar gives him a hard, fast no. Like, he doesn't equivocate. He's like, there's no advantage here. Like, it's all the chessboard. Like, if I help you, I get nothing.
Right, and then when they get to Londo, he's like, "Yeah, I can do this, but the financial costs,
the financial costs, the bureaucracy,
Yeah.
and it's like,
it's going to take months.
It's going to take months
and a lot
money.
of money.
Yeah, right.
So
And-
it's like, okay, that's no good.
Right, and that's very Centauri. That's the dying republic that is all built on bureaucracy and money. But we get my favorite, well, maybe not my favorite, top 10 for sure, Kosh'isms.
Oh yeah, I wrote it down.
I use it in life all the time. The avalanche has started. The Pebbles no longer get to vote, or whatever it was. The avalanche has already started. It is too late for the Pebbles to vote.
Yeah.
The avalanche has already started. It is too late for the Pebbles to vote.
That's what I wrote down too.
Yeah,
because I was
so
like, that's a great Kosh line.
I have used that in life for 20 years. It's like, it's way too late to speak up. So, and then, of course, we get the Minbari, because they're so religious, because they're so spiritual, they're like, which one of you is spiritually right? We don't know, and we can't intervene. We don't know if it's right to help the child from Earth's moral stance, or if it's right to stick with your beliefs. Like, this is not our faith, and we can't speak about which one of yours is right.
Correct, and that leads to another scene of Franklin and Sheridan having a conversation. You know, well, if one religion is right, maybe all religions are right.
Yeah.
And maybe God doesn't care what you pray, just that you pray.
Right.
And, you know, so it's a very... Because we have this here with Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, like the three Abrahamic
faiths. Yep.
So share a lot of similar backstory, but deviate very,
very heavily.
widely.
Like you're the people that say you're praying to the same God. Do some research.
Yeah. And then even within Christianity, you know, just the divide between Catholic and Protestant.
Right. And then once you get into the sects of Protestantism, it's still there are still deviations, although unless you get into like some of the more culty, you're pretty fine in any of them.
But that's what lets us as Earth people
right
kind of relate.
Earth food animals.
Right, it lets us relate to this greater discussion.
So while all of this is going on, of course, we have Ivanova and the B plot. A single raider ship shows up after they rendezvous with Asimov, and they're escorting it, and Ivanova breaks protocol.
She does. So she has to do this because they have to get this ship to the jump gate. It's about an hour away or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There's two fighters.
Right. It's a very small escort wing.
Yep.
And it would be protocol to stay with the freighter and her wingman. But she's like, if I don't take out this one raider ship, it could get into past our jamming range and could signal for backup. So I got to go break protocol and take it out, which kind of sets up the how two main characters are breaking protocol.
Yes,
and to wildly different results.
Yes, indeed. I don't know if we're gonna stick with her story or move on.
I mean, the show jumps around, so wherever you
go. It was a lot of fun because she chases down this raider ship.
Yeah,
she gets it. She's like, yes,
and then 12 blips or so show up on the screen. It's like, oh crap,
no.
Yep,
and that's really all we see of her story until the end.
Till the very end. Yeah, we really don't know what happens until the jump gate opens.
Yeah, and I want to say her story is maybe 2 minutes of screen time.
It's
very short.
It's very small.
It's just cutting between this deeper, heavier story.
Right. It's to give the audience a little room to breathe.
Indeed.
Because we need it with how heavy the stuff is. So, as we alluded to earlier, Franklin chooses to operate outside of the parents' wishes. Hernandez decides to back him up. So, they operate. The boy is 100% healthy.
He says he doesn't feel any different
Doesn't feel any different. Doesn't feel like he lost his spirit. and the parents come in and reject him completely.
Like they, as if they have seen a demon among them.
Yes.
The father pulls a knife out.
Yes.
The kid
and
is
like
crying,
protecting his
mom, dad,
Yeah, and it's like protecting his wife from the demon, and like,
They even say that demon, and then so Franklin has to comfort the child. Say it's okay. You're still you. You did not lose your spirit.
Right, you did nothing wrong. You're fine. So then Sinclair gives Franklin a epic level chewing out, and Franklin gets on his high horse about how right he was, and I did the right thing, and
then they get called down to the medical bay. They say we think you should both come here. They get there. Parents are there. Right. They have their Amoda robe.
Right, for the robe for the long travel.
So they're like, we're here to accept the boy. Blah,
right,
blah, blah,
and we cannot thank you or forgive you religiously, but if we were allowed to, we would.
So it seems like everything has gone Franklin's way. They leave. He turns to Sinclair and he's like, "I'm waiting."
Yeah, I'm waiting for the
apology.
Apology. Yeah, like so humble.
So Hernandez was tasked with researching their history, that alien race.
Yep.
And she's like, "Well, I finished my research. Here's the stuff." And he's like, "Oh, there's that thing. Oh, there's that thing. Oh, there's the Amoda robe." And then
then it dawns on him what the long journey is. And
he runs down to the parents' quarters. Yep. He's pushing his way through. Gets there. You see the boy has expired. The parents are there.
The parents have sent him on his way because he wasn't their son anymore. That was a demon. Yep. And they did their religious duty. And, it completely broke Franklin.
Yep.
And, it was definitely any action he did or did not take, the boy would have died.
Yeah, and that's what Sinclair had said to him.
Yeah.
He was talking. He's like, what would have happened had you not operated?
Right.
And he didn't answer. He's like, well, the boy would have died. And
right.
he was like, well, these are just words. These are just words.
Right.
That's what Franklin was saying to Sinclair, because it gave him no comfort. He knew he had violated their trust. He had stepped over his bounds. He was
willing to offer his resignation at that point. But this was, I think, kind of his proving as because he's new to the station. He replaced the doctor from the pilot who operated on Kosh. So this was kind of his showing Sinclair and showing everyone who he is.
Yeah.
And I think Jeff was just like, okay, well, now that you've made this massive mistake and learned from it, replacing you is going to be way more work than keeping you humbled.
Yeah.
So a humbled Dr. Franklin is much more valuable than a new doctor.
And that's excellent leadership on Sinclair's part.
Yep. Sinclair's a great leader. It's unfortunate that the actor doesn't get to stay with us, but still, I mean, it's not like Sheridan's bad in any way. No. I love Sheridan. I prefer Sheridan, but that just because we got some awesome seasons with him.
So we have all this heavy stuff, and then we cut back to the Launchcraft from the Asimov docking on Babylon 5.
Right.
And we see Ivanova
and
out.
Garibaldi chews her out a bit because her fighter is going to have to be worked on for weeks or something like that. It was like, she really
what happened out there? She's like, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Really? Because your fighter is going to be in maintenance for weeks. So she got away by the skin of her teeth. But again, it was the contrast.
We see a boy coming off of the passenger ship, reunited with his parents.
So again, it's this contrast between the two stories. So both Ivanova and Franklin disobeyed orders, both involving children, civilians, and they got wildly different results, which, when you think about, like, Star Trek, the Prime Directive, stuff like that, like, it, violated all the time for the sake of the moral good or whatever, but I loved this in Babylon 5 because it shows you the real world.
Yeah.
It shows you that you can't know in advance if breaking the rules is going to be good or bad. And both these characters broke the rules, and one got a terrible result and one got a great result.
Yep.
And they both did it out of moral conviction. And just like real life, you cannot know your result. You can only know your intent.
Yes.
And I, again, love this show. Absolutely. And this is what you get in an episode of the week.
I know. Put yourself in Franklin's position. You're a doctor. You took that Hippocratic oath to save a life no matter what.
Right.
What do you do?
And then put yourself in the parents' position. Like, this is morally, spiritually violating what I believe, and this man in power is trying to take that away from me.
And all these other people in power on the station that we're going to are not helping us.
What do you do? Every last thing is difficult, like real life. I love it. I love this show.
Yeah, they capture humanity.
Yes, that's one of the wonderful things about science fiction. We've talked about it just personally for decades, that you get to tell heavy, deep, thematic stuff without offending anyone, because you get to frame it with aliens and creatures.
Like that classic Star Trek episode where there was that race of people. They were black on one side,
white on the other, and then it was
mirrored. And then the other race was...
Yeah, it was white on one. And just...
It was like, why are you fighting? You're identical.
They're like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
Like, we're clearly the opposite of one. Or like, as heavy as it was in the Battlestar reboot when they dealt with suicide bombers.
Yeah.
It's like, well... Like, this is not anything political about what's going on in the real world.
This was during the Iraq War when this was airing.
Yeah, so there were suicide bombings, or maybe in Afghanistan.
Wait, there was a war there?
Yeah, right. Well, we withdrew. It was fine.
Okay.
Getting in trouble. Anywho, so you get to address these very, very heavy ideas in a framing device that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the more sensitive folks aren't going to complain on Twitter.
Well, they will. They always do.
Yeah,
but
I guess you're probably right. But I don't even was Twitter even around back
then? They complain on X.
I'm talking.
They MySpace. They live journaled about it. Remember
yeah,
live journal?
I remember. Yeah,
Angel Fire maybe.
Zanga.
Zanga.
Remember that one?
Yeah, GeoCities. They put it on their GeoCities website.
Oh gosh, I had fun with GeoCities.
Yeah, it was fun, man. We made some good sites.
I'm a web designer. I have a website on GeoCities. Flames everywhere.
Flames animated.
I did do that.
Animated flames
I did do that for my old band's website.
Oh yeah,
as many flames as possible.
Yeah, like you put more flames on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess
that wraps up.
We're done talking about this week's episode. It was fantastic. We're a couple weeks away from a really good one. I mean, no, the next one's good, but in 2 episodes, I think we get a really good one.
Spoilers.
So until then, we'll do the thing.
Yeah, that. Looking at my notes.
I think you have a problem with people.
Just one.
Well,
just the one problem.
I had one last week.
Yeah.
So I am totally fine with humanity this week.
Oh, good. So let's jump right into problems with people.
George is getting upset. Oh, yes! That's what I should have said. You know, we're living in a society.
All right. Now,
I had to hold that up for the cut. Like
in the original Star Wars, when they would open the doors, they had to stand perfectly still. Because their doors would not open like that. This is good problems with people talk. This could be subtitle...
The Fly is back.
Driving lessons with Tim. So many of my problems with people revolve around driving.
The car.
I decided to start with one that's pretty shallow and pedantic.
Yes, shallow and pedantic.
We're clipping that in there. Shallow and pedantic.
Yes.
The administration's plan for peace in the Middle East is shallow and pedantic.
I agree. Shallow and pedantic.
I agree as well. Shallow and pedantic.
It's just one of those things. This is perfectly legal. If you go to driving school, this is totally fine if there's a test for it, but it just personally bothers me as someone who hates inconveniencing other people.
Go on.
I've prepared a little diagram.
Oh my goodness.
So what we have here is 2 lanes. I'll turn to you.
Yeah.
So one lane goes straight. The other lane...
Every morning to work, I know what I do.
Okay, good. Don't get ahead.
I know.
This lane goes straight and turns right. Now,
yes.
I work in a business park.
Yeah.
I get in at dark 30.
Yep.
I'm in by 6-ish.
Is there, by any chance, one of those traffic lights?
There is a traffic light, and it's on, unfortunately.
Okay.
But what's happening here is all the businesses in the business park are this way.
Yes.
And if you make the right-hand turn here, there is a very large health and fitness club.
Okay.
Where many healthy people, not me.
Right.
But healthy people are going to
be
turning.
People with joie de vivre.
I don't know what that is.
Zest for life.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Zest for life.
Yeah.
Joie de vivre?
I think that's zest for life. I mean, vive is life.
Vive.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Traffic light often turns red.
Yeah.
if you are going to go straight and not turning right, and you have a dozen cars behind you,
you are in the left lane or you're a monster.
You have to be in this lane.
Yeah.
It's very...
you live in a society.
You do. All these people want to get to their health club. They want to do their exercising, presumably shower, and then probably come right back out and go to the business park.
Yes.
I would assume.
I would also assume. Also, it's going to be ridiculously easy on the other side of the traffic light to get into the right lane because everyone's turning.
Yeah, and beyond that light, you've got another, I want to say, half mile until it comes to a T intersection, and the business park is a big...
So for me, it's the largest employer is at that right turn or straight, and I'm the next light.
Oh, so you have... And how far till that light?
A quarter mile.
Yeah.
So I'm never in the right lane.
Do you live your life a quarter mile at a time?
No.
Okay, so you're not fast or furious.
No.
Okay, but you probably are able, with so many people likely turning right, just as they would at this health club, that if you're in the left lane, even if you're a couple of cars back, you're probably going to get over into that right lane close to immediately.
And when, not if, when a narcissist is in that lane going straight, I put my vehicle into sport mode and gun past them and get in front of them and slow down.
Shallow and pedantic.
Well, I'm not the narcissist.
No,
they are they are blocking dozens of people from going where they need to go so they can be in their favorite lane.
I have to. That's not my favorite way, though.
Right. Now, I have a friend at work that I've talked to about this, and he's a very much, even though he's a little younger than me, he has a very Gen X attitude. So I appreciate his insight on things, and he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. So I'm telling him this. He's like, "Man, you're just really neurotic, aren't you?" Yes, I am. Because I understand it is perfectly legal. You have every right to stop there and block all these people.
You have every right to be an inconvenience to people around you, but you have the power not to be.
Exactly.
You have the agency to not inconvenience other people.
Inconveniencing other people, as we have said in this segment, is just something if I'm doing it
knowingly do. If I'm doing it unknowingly, it's fine until it's brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Then once I know, it's over. Like, it's completely over once I know.
I don't think this will make its own problems with people, but it relates. I like the Chipotle style restaurant.
Sure.
Where you go in, you walk through the line, you pick your toppings, and you go.
Right.
I know what I like.
In advance.
Yeah. And I know what to say.
Yes.
For instance, at a Chipotle.
Right.
When they were like, all right, what would you like?
I would like a bowl to go, white rice, black beans, what kind of meat, chicken, steak, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do
down
it in order.
the line.
Yeah. That one's done. Yeah.
Now, I will grant clemency to anyone if it's their very first time ever being in a place like this.
I'll give you 2, maybe.
Yeah.
By your third, you should know. It's pattern recognition. By the third, you should see the pattern.
But yeah, so there's also Qdoba, which I don't go to as often. I used to go to pretty regular. It's near where I work.
And it is, better.
And it also, if you're an early person like myself, they're serving lunch by 10 a.m. At least the one down that way, because they serve breakfast. Not every Qdoba does.
Yeah.
But they're already open. They have lunch food ready by 10. So you get 10:30, beat the lunch rush, get your food back.
Sure.
You're still eating by 11 o'clock, whatever. And my routine would often be get there like 10:45, really. Go through the line. I'm in and out of that restaurant in under 2 minutes.
Sure.
The holdup is my purchase going to space and back via the credit card machine.
My occasional holdup is if they're refilling a thing.
Sure.
That's not me.
But I've been stuck behind someone, and they'll just do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So what would you like? And your choices, you can get a salad, you can get a bowl, you can get a burrito, you can get tacos. Yeah. We'll just keep it to those 4. They're like,
no,
burrito.
dude. Oh
Burrito.
I'm already...
So they warm up the tortilla, and they're like, do you want rice beans?
Yeah.
Let me get just continuing down the line like this. So if that were me, so let's just say I'm going to a place that is Chipotle style that I've never been to before.
Yeah.
I cannot be that person,
no.
even if I have no idea.
Nope.
In general, they're all pretty similar. You're going to have some kind of
You're going to have your base, you're going to have
your proteins, your
toppings,
dressings, your sauces, etc.
Right.
And I'm just going to rapid fire the things that I know that I like or look close to something that I would like.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard.
I can't do it. I can't be the reason that people are waiting longer.
Like, I had to memorize. So I'm a little burned out on Chipotle, just because we discovered early on that it's something that my wife, myself, and my kids all will eat. Their palates have expanded, so it's gotten easier now. But there was a time where it was like one of the only things everyone would eat, and it burned me out on it.
I have yet to experience.
So my kids are not burned out on it, but I have their orders memorized. So like when I get in line, it's like, yeah, I need 2 bowls to go. Bop, 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 bop. I'm out.
Yep.
Like, dude,
I understand perfectly
because there's people behind you.
There are. They want their food.
They want their food.
They have somewhere to be.
Right.
What if one of them's like a doctor? What if one of them's a lawyer prosecuting
what
a
if
case?
this is the only chance they have to eat while their loved one's in hospice, and they're like, I just need to eat real quick and go. Like, dude, just get out of the way.
Yes.
This is fast food.
Yeah, I don't have what they call main character syndrome.
No.
And I've met people who do these things who are good people.
Who just are utterly clueless.
Don't understand the concept of others. It's just going about, and maybe that's good. Maybe it's a good way to live.
I think they were happier than me.
Probably.
I think that they sleep better. I think that they're not like overly analyzing every interaction they had that day and like, oh crap.
Yeah, watch an episode of Seinfeld and see how George gets worked up all the time over these minuscule things.
That's my resting pulse.
That is.
George Costanza is my resting pulse.
It's bad. I don't make the same stupid decisions in life that he does, but I have a very similar wiring of just...
Yeah.
Why can't you just understand?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not hard.
So that's my problem with people. Most of mine are going to be about inconveniencing other people.
Yes.
Those other people are often myself. Therefore, it's just a double whammy.
Yeah. I'm sensing a theme because most of mine are about being inconvenienced, and
So I have like probably 4 more at least that are car related. So there'll be that subtitle, driving lessons with Tim, or Tim's School of Driving. So that unless you have anything else to add,
no, I think that was great.
That was my problem with people.
You know, we're living in a society.
All right, let's reference the old note card.
I think we're talking games, right?
Yeah. So last time we did this, we didn't know what to name this segment.
Right. And you said let's talk games because of someone on Nerdrotic
Geeks and Gamers.
Geeks and Gamers.
They're all the same
it's all
sphere.
good. There's so much overlap. But then you had the brainwave of Wayne and Garth
playing hockey.
Wayne Campbell and Garth Brooks. Now it's Garth.
Garth Algar.
Algar. Thank you. Playing hockey, street hockey, and we as kids, because that was when it came out. We would go out as game on.
But let me just for the folks at home, just how much I appreciate you, because I said in my head, we already have the music, we have the graphics rolling by. I just want to hear Wayne and Garth yelling game on, and then put game on in like an 8-bit retro style. And you produced exactly what was in my mind. Because I was going to do it when I got home. You already had access to your editing suite. So you're like, I'll just bang this out real quick. And it was exactly what I would have done. So this is my appreciation to you. Let's roll the thing that you made that was in my head.
Game on! Game on!
So Dave, what games are we talking about today?
We're talking about a whole studio. We're talking about Sierra Games, which were a
Sierra
monster.
Online.
Sierra Online. It actually went through. Well, you have the history, so you'll be able to tell us.
I have the history.
Went through a few different company names, but a powerhouse for PC gaming in the late '80s to mid '90s. There was some into the 2000s, but it was there was so much competition at that point. For us, I think the sweet spot was probably about 90 to 95.
Yeah, that's when we're like
somewhere
King's
in
Quest
there.
4, 5, Space Quest 4, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and so obviously we're going to talk about the King and Space Quest games because those were the ones that were huge for us.
And the ones that we had access to.
And the ones we had access to.
I don't think we ever had Police Quest.
No, I
definitely did not have
Leisure Suit Larry. I think with Police Quest there was probably some concern that it might be a little too grown up for us because I'm the little brother. In 1990, I'm 8.
Yeah.
So maybe let's not have something about homicide.
Yeah, never played those games.
I don't really know.
After doing my research, I didn't do anything specific for Police Quest. I just learned an interesting tidbit, which I'll share later.
Sure.
But I was like, yeah, I think I actually really enjoy that series of games and might want to give it a go at some point.
I found, there's bundles on Steam and stuff for a lot of the old Sierra games, but, well, since you've got the history of the developer, let's start there.
All right, so Sierra Online actually started off as Online Systems.
It did.
Was founded by husband and wife team Ken and Roberta Williams. Mm-hmm. So here's the history, is that Ken was a programmer. Mm-hmm. He was working on an income tax program. This was in 1979, the year I was born.
Oh, wow.
So this is way back when. So back then, home computing is not really a thing. He has what is called a teletype. It is essentially an electronic typewriter,
right?
With
I think the screen is like this big,
or connects to a TV.
Yeah,
but it has a very low baud rate modem, like a 100K, not K, 100, whatever maybe it is K.
It's probably K. Yeah.
So very, very, very low speed, but it was fine.
It could have been 100 baud because 14.4 kilobaud was.
Probably what it was.
Yeah, it's probably just baud.
Anywho, he's connecting into the mainframe, which is what you did back then. There was
no local software. You were connecting in as a terminal to a mainframe that had all the software.
Very much like a thin client today connecting to a server.
Yes.
So all the data is housed in the server.
Because the audience understands thin and thick client.
They absolutely do.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, just Google it. Anyway, as he's working on this code, he's searching around the mainframe and finds a game file called ADV or Adventure. These are old text-based adventure games.
Yep.
And our friends would play what were called MUDs, or multi-user domains or dungeons. But this was a single-player version of that, where essentially you launch the program, and in this case, for Adventure, it was like you're standing at the end of the road, and a brick house is in front of you.
Yeah.
And basically, you have to then, via the keyboard, say what you want to do.
Right.
And it's very like basic. Look house.
Yeah.
Or
walk north.
Or things like that.
Yeah, turn left. Like, it's just very basic
as
input.
As you do these things, it's
the game responds to you.
Output out, and then you kind of make your decisions from there. So he finds this game, he shares it with Roberta, his wife, and she loves it.
Yeah.
They obsessed over it, they played it to completion, and then went on to play some other adventure games. Mm-hmm. And then she had the burning desire to make a game herself. Between her writing and graphics and his programming, they could easily achieve this, and went on to produce their first Sierra game, probably still called Online Studios, which was called Mystery House.
Yep.
And Mystery House is the first game to feature graphics, first adventure game to feature graphics. They were very basic.
Right.
It was using a style of graphics called vector, which was basically point to point.
Yeah, point to point.
So you would program.
Vector is still hugely important today for print graphics.
Yes. Yeah. So you just program in the points, and then the program will write the lines in between, and then give you what appears to be an image. Very crude, very basic, very monochrome.
Yep.
But it turns out to be a really big hit. They're making the games themselves. They put an ad into a magazine called Micro, and basically say, "Hey, here's a Mystery House, a new adventure game."
Yeah.
You the consumer, you fill out the little thing, you mail it to them with the money, and then they mail you the floppy back in the mail. But they did gangbusters with it. So by the way, this information is all extracted from a documentary I watched on a YouTube channel called "It's a Pixel Thing."
Oh, I didn't watch that documentary. Cool.
We should drop the link in there because it's actually a really good documentary. The guy is not American. He has a pretty thick accent, but he's very understandable. I couldn't tell if he, and this is my own ignorance, is he Brazilian or is he Russian? Because it was just
it's an interesting coin flip.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell, and I didn't dig too deep into it. But anyway, he had said in the first month they made like 11,000, second month 20, third month 30.
And
so
we're talking 1980s dollars. So you're talking like that, triple that.
Correct. So things are going very well. When they started, they lived in Los Angeles. They didn't like it there. They had a young family, traffic, crime, blah, blah, blah. They decided to move to Oakhurst, which is outside of Yosemite, still in California. Right. And it's ultimately where they changed their name to Sierra because they could see the Sierra Mountains in the background.
The vistas.
So many vistas.
So many vistas. They're going to be the best vistas.
You say they couldn't get any bigger. We're going to go bigger. Anyway, the company is growing. We don't need to focus on the company so much. Right. But they make a few more games like this. They build an engine that is ultimately used for King's Quest, which is their first
that's like their kind of their capstone property at the time. Like
this is full animated. It's no longer static images appearing. But for the first few games in the series of King's Quest and Space Quest, they still have what's called the parser, which is where you input the text of what you want the character to do.
It's not as point and click as it becomes later.
This is still pre-mouse.
Right. Yeah. So you're playing in DOS. You're not playing in Windows.
Right. They offer mouse functionality, but it's very rudimentary.
Very rudimentary.
So most of the time, and I was watching some videos of this, you're using the arrow keys, and it's very easy as you're walking your character around to fall and die because you didn't stay on the stairs properly or whatever. But that was sort of the backstory. There's lots of interesting things. I highly recommend the documentary for learning more about the company, and it has lots of peaks and valleys.
Sure.
And I will say one of the things that culminated was towards the end, before the Williamses depart, Sierra is making an agreement to be the publisher for a very small, non-impactful game called Half-Life.
Right.
And it was like...
It went nowhere.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the entire landscape of gaming.
Isn't still played to this day, 20,
It's
30
also
years
no longer
later.
the springboard for how everyone gets online games on their PCs.
Yeah. So
very interesting, that little...
We're here to talk about that late 80s, early 90s.
We are here specifically because of our love of King's Quest V and Space Quest 4.
Yeah, those are the two best.
So
Hands
those are the ones that hit right at the right age for us, and that we, I think they were both around 95, 94, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in that
time. And we played the heck out of them.
Yes, we did.
And we still quote King's Quest V all the time.
All the time.
Like, I watched a no commentary playthrough of both. And just like all the like brainwaves I had while watching King's Quest. Because it's like, I still say, water, nectar of the gods. Graham feels his strength returning to him. The cool, clean water quenches Graham's thirst. And, it will require 1 gold coin to see Madam Wooshka. Like all those like random little...
It will cost you 1 gold coin to see Madam Wooshka.
Things that were... And like the ones I forgot. Also, I remember King's Quest V is where I learned what a Yeti was. I'd never heard the word Yeti in my life.
Throw the pie at the Yeti and you're good.
It's a custard pie, but you throw it the Yeti and he dies.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's how you kill a Yeti. I know how to kill a Yeti now.
Well, because he can't see and he stumbles and falls off the cliff.
Yeah. But no, so it's one of those things where it's so it's a point and click adventure, which is the graduation from the text input.
Right, your screen is still static.
Yeah.
And you basically point, and you have different mouse options. Like
you
little
look
walking
at,
character,
pick up, walk. Yeah. I think Space Quest.
It has smell and taste.
Get added in Space Quest 4.
Humor.
Because Space Quest is a hilarious. King's Quest games have some funny moments, but they're mostly dramatic adventures.
Yeah.
Space Quest is all comedy.
Yes, it is
from the very beginning because you play as a janitor, named Roger Wilco. And
though what I didn't know is Roger Wilco was the default name, but you could set your name up through 3 or 2,
right?
And then they changed it to Roger Wilco, and you could not change it anymore. As the story grew, but on Space Quest, the very first one, just you're basically taking an on-duty nap, as they call it.
You start off with your on-duty nap. And your ship has been attacked by the Sarians, I believe.
Yes, the Sarians.
And
you see a dead crewmate there with a key card. You go pick up the key card. This is how your adventure begins.
Yes.
So you, the lowly janitor, have to save the day as you progress through.
Basically a planet-killing device that, it's either a life giver or it's very much like the Genesis device in Star Trek.
Very much taken
very similar.
They take a lot from Star Trek and Star Wars. Sprinkling some aliens.
A little Terminator.
Yeah. That's 4 with the guy or is it 4 or 5 when you work at the burger joint and you've got...
I think it might be...
Because the character's name was Arnie something.
Yeah. And he was basically a hulked out, like Arnold meets Colossus meets the Terminator. Yeah, it was very...
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
That's the burger joint. I forgot about that.
Yeah, when you have to assemble
burgers.
An in-game game of assembling burgers.
I wonder if it's the first mini-game. Like, that would be worth exploring.
It could be. But the thing that made this particular style of game interesting was there were... what do they call? There's an exact phrase for it where you could fail at the game if you don't do a very specific thing.
Yeah.
An example I saw in doing my research was in King's Quest V. You go into this village and you see a cat chasing a rat.
Right, and if you don't throw the boot at the rat will not save you when you're tied up later.
Right,
and you could play hours,
and then
and you didn't do the thing. Oh well.
This is pre-internet. You can't Google it. There's no YouTube.
That was one of the things I did want to talk about. Was like how difficult it was to figure this out. Like we're spoiled now. If you're stuck in a game, Google it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, Usenets were a thing.
Yeah.
So this is users logging in. You could get unlike a Reddit.
Yes,
before Reddit,
but it was not quite as searchable and still a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. You find your forum. So maybe there's a forum for your game, and you're scrolling through,
scrolling. Like, okay, this scene do what? Yeah. So I was like, man, this game forces you to think. It forces you to look at cause and effect and consequence. And
but how would you possibly know? Because you walk in, screen left, you right, and then the rat is being chased by the cat on the other side, and it happens in seconds.
Yeah, and if you didn't get the boot, which I forgot how you got the boot.
Who knows? But why would you even know to throw it?
Right.
Or save? Why would you save a rat?
Right. It's a rat.
Yeah,
they carried the plague back then.
It should just be a funny thing of a cat getting a rat.
But that's one of the things that about these games that is so different is that because everything's so static, if something's happening on the screen, it's important. You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this didn't happen the last time I walked in frame here. Maybe I need to reload my save game, come back and see what.
It's not like Assassin's Creed in the middle of the village where there are dozens of people around you doing all kinds of things and you could ignore or pay attention to whatever you want.
Right. It's very specific. And
that is a good point, Dave.
Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting back then is to prevent piracy is in the Space Quest series, they would include codes that you would need in specific parts of the game in the manual.
Yep.
So if you didn't buy the game,
you didn't have the code.
You could not proceed past it. That's the end, unless someone is willing to share their code with you, I guess. But so I thought that was kind of clever, and
I'd forgotten that.
It made me long for the days of manuals. Remember manuals?
I do remember
when you
manuals.
Buy a game?
Yeah, you had a nice physical thing that came with it.
And when you're a kid, you're reading the manual on the drive home, so excited to play your new game, learning all the details. It gives you often clues on how to play the game. Yeah. And, hey, Mario 3, if you see this one background thing that's white, maybe that's something.
Yeah,
right. And then so plants a little seed in your head. Yeah, but
so to going back to the little things that are locked in forever, I think it was Space Quest V, where
that's the time one where you're jumping through all the different games, or is that 4?
4 you jump in because 4 you wind up in Space Quest 12.
Yeah. Right. The latex babes of whatever.
But I think it's 5. It's either 5 or I think there was a 6.
Yeah, 6 was the last one. It was the Spinal Frontier.
So it was either 5 or 6. But it starts off with the captain of the ship wanting to thank the entire crew. It's like, I'd like to take a moment to thank the entire crew. Thank you. 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 Just one thank you for each crew. And it just goes on and on. And it's just like, because, again, these games did not have dialogue for the first half of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they had to be on a CD-ROM.
Yes, they did for that level of
space. The floppies could not hold all of it, and also sound cards were not commonplace for the first half of the series.
Right,
it was your PC speaker, so you get some very rudimentary noises.
Oh man, listening to the playthroughs because they were like, "What can the motherboard chirp?" Mm-hmm. Like it. Some of the sound effects in the early games are brutal to hear today.
They are. The person I was watching, I chose because their videos were about 10 minutes per game, so I could get the gist. And she had said she would just listen to music, and often heavy metal, and then showed playing King's Quest with like death metal in the background. And I was like, okay, that's actually,
a lot better.
That's pretty rad.
That's funny because I did not attend a town hall virtually this week for work, and I did not put instrumental music under the boss to make the experience more tolerable.
That would actually be really funny, especially if you had a fired up person. Like, we're going to do this, it's going to be great.
Dude, it kept me awake.
The Doom 2016 soundtrack would be
really good.
Yeah.
Next time.
I might do that next. We have like once a month we'll have these meetings on Wednesdays, just reviewing our sprints. Like maybe I'll put that on. That'll be pretty
seems
funny.
reasonable to me. So yeah, just going back through the whole point and click thing. It's a style that it's a ton of fun, and it doesn't really get the love it deserves. There's not a lot being made that way anymore. I mean, you get some like walking simulators that kind of capture some of it. Maybe 10 years ago was Broken Age. Was it 10 years by now?
I never played that one, so
you need to. It was great.
The two guys from Andromeda did reunite to make a new point-and-click adventure game.
Yes.
It was Kickstarted.
They kickstarted it.
The beta was released. It has not, as far as I know, made it to final production.
That was my research as well, that it never made it to beyond beta, and I don't know.
It was a spiritual successor to Space Quest.
Yes.
New.
They didn't have the rights to the IP, I don't think.
Protagonist.
Oh, yeah.
Protagonist.
Hero's Journey. Yeah.
Ace.
Freely?
Something. No, it was a take on Ace Hardware. So like Ace Hardley, I think was
pretty funny.
Character's name, and it was. What was it called? Like Space Adventure instead of Space Quest?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was very tongue in cheek. I mean, very obviously like, hey, what can we skirt around IP law to still. Because the two guys from Andromeda are the developers of the
It was not Ken and Roberta. As Sierra grew, they brought in lots of developers and had many games.
And the two guys from Andromeda inserted themselves into the Space Quest games as like pig guys with no hawks. So
you got to show the picture of that.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And but I saw some of the beta footage of Space Adventure, if I have that name correct, and it looks like fun, but it's all full 3D and. That's nice, but I just love that old style of the digitized paintings behind you.
I think you would really like Broken Age. It's very much a prettier, more capable version of what we grew up with. Like, there's actually a really great documentary about the making of it, because it was Kickstarted or whatever crowdfunding platform it used, and the stretch goals were, hey, if we make extra, we'll make a documentary about making it.
Sweet.
And there's like a lot of relatively famous voice actors, if I recall, that are roped in, and it's fantastic.
Nice.
You should,
My
daughter loved it. She played it too. She loved it.
I miss those adventure games. They're fun. They're slower pace.
Yeah, and like that studio, they did like Full Throttle and a couple other point and click adventure games back in the.
Those were LucasArts titles.
They were, yeah. So it's those developers that launched their own company that did Broken Age.
Okay.
So yeah,
Broken Age.
It's worth it.
I'm like, do I get the pen and write it down?
Yeah.
Maybe. Broken Age.
I'm just staring at the notebook now.
It's right here. I mean, the pen fell down.
Pen's too far.
It did.
Pen go far.
It was here and it fell off.
No,
and
can't have it.
If I reach, I'm going to knock something over. It's
true.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
Because it's great content for you.
Yeah.
But,
on the next.
Get to hear.
If we can make it through without having to mock one another, this will be a groundbreaking episode.
You did hit record on the audio, right?
Crap. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Darn it.
All right.
I mean, good.
Good. For the sake of the quality of the podcast, thank God we pushed every button today.
Every button has been pushed.
Yeah, all the lights are on.
Sometimes twice. Oh, crap.
Oh, no. Oh. All right. Well, I guess anything else to add on Game On?
Not particularly. I long for these simpler times.
Yes.
But often I do get older games that I have fond memories of, and they kind of just sit on my shelf. I don't often go play
they're
them.
not as fun as you remembered.
And so sometimes it's good to let things live in memory.
Yeah.
I think I might do what you did and just watch the playthroughs, and that way I can at least get the joy of it.
Yeah, and the playthroughs, since they don't make any mistakes, they're done in an hour, maybe two.
Yeah.
Versus weeks of toil.
But it was a great, very specific time, pre-Windows operating systems. Mm-hmm. So to get all these colorful things on your monitor that looked better than what was available on consoles at the time.
Yeah.
So it just felt more advanced, and that PCs were the wave of the future.
Yeah, and it was more grown-up gaming than what was available on a console.
Mm-hmm. And just a lot of fun. And what was great about them is that in Mario, if you're not the player, you're watching someone play. It can still be entertaining, but it's not really interactive.
Right.
But with these types of games, we would play together. We would play with our dad.
Right, they were interactive stories. We were being told a story while we're...
So maybe one person is moving the character.
Right, but we're all discussing on what to do.
Yeah, and so it
was actually a family event.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Back when families did things together.
What?
Huh?
Boop. Car. Oh man. So I guess you told me we were doing Conspiracy Corner. Mm-hmm. Or so I heard.
Yeah, so this one is, I need my phone. I wrote the notes down in my phone.
Okay.
Let's roll the thing for Conspiracy Corner while I bring up my notes.
I am a high-priced Washington lobbyist peddling influence.
Any contract involving weapons application.
A coworker told me about this a couple of months ago because he knows I love a good conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Tim, I've got the best conspiracy theory for you. Okay, let's hear it. He's like, what if I told you that Mountain Dew is able to predict disasters? And I'm like, okay, tell me more. Now, in the time since this conspiracy made it onto the Ninjas Are Butterflies podcast on Sunday Cool YouTube channel, check them out. So unfortunately, I wanted to get in before them, but it's okay because I already heard about it ahead of time, and so I'm not stealing from them.
Just weird coincidental timing, just like the Saving Private Ryan comment, and then that clip went around again. Like, what? Stop! Get out of my brain.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Here, I'll put this up.
Oh,
just so we have a visual representation.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Baja?
Yeah, just Baja, because I couldn't. The other flavors that I need to bring into play, unfortunately, were limited releases and are not out anymore.
Okay.
So this one, because it's adjacent, and then Baja Blast, because it's Baja Blast. Who doesn't like a good Baja Blast? All right. So this first one is maybe part of it, maybe not.
Okay.
Code Red was first released in the spring of 2001. Several months later, 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's in the background. There's a different CEO at the time. We're going to jump ahead many years to the 2020s, where things start to get really interesting.
Okay.
In 2023, the flavor. And let's see if you can guess
the disaster?
The event. You should be able to.
Okay.
Mountain Dew Maui Blast.
I'm guessing that's the wildfires.
That would be the yes.
Project Bluebeam.
Yes, Project Bluebeam, but the what?
The accidental fires in Maui.
The space laser. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
how's that property value? I'm sorry.
So there's one.
That's two conspiracies later.
Okay. So this the Code Red on the periphery.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago. We're talking almost a 20-year gap until the next one.
Okay.
So we have this first one. One time coincidence.
Sure.
Twice.
It's the...
Here's next one. Was in March of 2024.
Oh boy.
The Mountain Dew Star Spangled Splash. In 2024, well, let's just say, the Star Spangled Banner was written by Mr. Francis Scott Key.
Yeah. The Key Bridge came down.
The Key Bridge came down a few weeks after this Mountain Dew flavor released.
Yeah.
The Star Spangled Splash.
Yeah. Into the water.
Into the water.
Into the water.
Okay, so now we're at 2. 2.
That was crazy. We live nearby. That was crazy when that happened. It looked like a house of cards.
I thought my coworkers were joking.
Yeah.
When I got in.
Yeah.
I was like,
right. Sure, buddy.
Yeah. It really felt back then like everything was falling apart fast. Like, really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more.
Okay.
Also in 2024. This one is a little harder to guess. It's called Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
Ooh. Okay, I'm trying to think where there may have been a global or some sort of power outage or...
Yeah, so close. So what happened a couple of weeks later was the CrowdStrike attack.
Yeah.
So many...
Dude, and look, why does no one talk about that one anymore?
I know.
Like, that was crazy. Like, all those planes were grounded. Like, it was nuts.
Many systems were taken down.
All at the same time.
At the same time. It seemed,
as though it were testing the waters for something bigger to happen around November.
Yeah, which I'm still surprised.
Yeah, still very surprised.
That we just skated right through the whole electric season.
Yeah.
Election?
Electric.
Did I say electric?
Electric season.
Election season.
Yeah.
Now... the originator of this conspiracy, and I forget his name, we can pop it up if we care to research it, is we have a new flavor coming out soon.
Oh, God.
And what's going to happen, we don't know. But the flavor is called Mountain Dew Baja Midnight.
Baja Midnight. Okay. Let's each pitch a conspiracy. I know this is the very last minute.
It is.
Did not plan this. Baja is part of the California Peninsula that does not belong to America. It's part of Mexico. So it's going to be a cartel takeover, full coup of the legitimate Mexican government. So the cartels are actually going to take full power, not background power. That's mine.
That's a good one, and I would have done something similar, so I'll do the opposite.
Okay.
Is J.D. Vance is going to strap up with a bunch of Navy SEALs, and they're going to go into that Baja Peninsula, and they're going to take it over, annex it, and make it part of California. And it's gonna be the meme J.D. Vance, the pudgy one with the curly hair.
You're my boy, Blue.
But yeah,
I like yours better because I want yours more.
Okay, but let's to stay on point with this.
Yeah.
So I was curious. So Mountain Dew is owned by PepsiCo, and then I wanted to know, well, who's PepsiCo's CEO currently? It's a man, a Spaniard, by the name, I'm going to pronounce it probably horribly, Ramon or
Ramon
Laguerta. So he is a Spaniard, as I said, and he took over in 20.
Spaniard.
I could give you my word as a Spaniard.
No good. I've known too many Spaniards.
Took over in 2018, so that puts
him in conspiracy line.
Red off the table, but these other flavors,
but the ones that are much more.
And I think even I want to say Baja was before that too.
Yeah,
this is the Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's a Taco Bell one.
Flavor that you can clearly buy in your local store. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, what's the deal with this guy? Scroll through his biography. What organization do you think he's a member of, Dave?
The Freemasons.
He's a member of the World Economic Forum, or the WEF.
I was close.
I mean, he's probably both. Supervillain.
Yes.
Charles
Schwab?
Charles Schwab?
Schwab.
Who since stepped down in another supervillainous step. They're like right out of an Austin Powers movie.
They're Machiavellian. They're kind of villains. They're not like subtle. They're like
not low key. Not like the guy who played the devil in the Schwarzenegger movie.
Oh yeah, he was good.
He's just suave, right? Yeah. These guys just look like cartoon villains.
Like
yes, mustache twirling, all that stuff. Yeah. So I just thought it was very interesting. So we have a connection to, if you're part of the conspiracy web, the WEF is a big part of that. And then you've got this guy who sits on the board there.
I'm sorry, I need to make a correction. Whether you're a part of it or not, the WEF is a big part of the evil in the world.
It's part of you.
Whether or not you believe it, it's happening.
And since taking over, he has increased profits and done all the WFE stuff that sound. It's what Elon Musk had said. They're doing evil and making it sound good.
Yes,
that kind of stuff. They're like, hey, we're reducing waste and we're reducing the amount of plastic.
What they mean is
emissions,
they're killing
and yeah, that's exactly what
they're reducing the population. Therefore, there's less waste producers.
Though I do have a little bit of hope because we had heard. I want to say it was this week that Pepsi had said, hey, we're going to stop putting in all these artificial colors and additives into our food and drink. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Sell compressed air.
I don't know.
I don't know what's left.
Bugs,
and you'll like it.
Yeah, you'll
be grateful.
You will be thankful. So yeah, just thought very very interesting. This guy comes along, increases profits for himself, for the company, releases all these different soda flavors for one particular brand, Mountain Dew, and then something terrible happens in the world within a few months of that being released.
So after Baja Midnight, we can look forward to Mountain Dew Whore of Babylon, Mountain Dew Mark of the Beast,
Mountain Dew as Wormwood, the asteroid that's going to crash in and destroy a third of the Earth's population.
Mountain Dew Seven Seals.
Collect all seven!
You thought there were 7 bowls? It's 1 bowl, brother.
Mix them all together like what do they call it when you put a little bit of everything in the soda cup?
That has a word.
I want to say it's the well, we can't say the word on YouTube, the unaliver. But I don't know if that's what you call it.
I don't know.
So
we all did it. We lived.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I did that and take like a couple of cheeseburgers and smash them together and make them as one cheeseburger.
That's how you do it.
That's what you do, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was this wild conspiracy.
I love it.
It's hilarious Because it's like, in today's world, it could all be true.
It could all be true.
It could be predictive programming to get us ready for something that's about to happen.
In Baja, California, or Baja, Mexico, technically.
Yeah,
Soon to be Baja, California.
And if you're not a believing person, then this.
Good luck.
No, I was going to say this is proof that we're in a simulation. It's the Matrix.
Right.
It's very entertaining, very funny. I don't know who's going to drink this Code Red because they didn't have the zero sugar one, but there is a zero sugar.
I'll take it and give it to one of the guys to make them drink it for my amusement today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this has been a corner of conspiracies.
All right, David, we have done it.
We have once again gone through all of our silly segments.
Yep.
And are left with our closer.
This one might be a little silly.
This one definitely has some silliness to it.
And this is a you thing.
This was a me thing.
And a youth thing.
So, I guess without further preamble.
I had 80s and 90s Christian parents.
And they were gonna show people that weren't even saved Terminator 2!
Who could it have been? Saved!
How long do I hold this?
You keep holding it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Okay, no, I can't talk to you while you're doing that. So it has come up in previous episodes that we were part of a mega church.
Yes, we were.
And this mega church had a mega youth group.
It did.
Which was divided. So there was kids' church, which was, I guess, up through 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
Middle, which was either 6th through 8th or 7th and 8th, I don't recall. And then high school was 9th through 12th. Anywho, I suppose it requires the backstory that one of the attendees of this church was a professional mime who was trained by Marcel Marceau. So he has legit cred.
Was that the guy?
That was the guy who beat you in the talent show. Yeah,
he knew exactly what I was going to say. My friends and I, we loved MXPX.
Yeah.
Dressed up as punks.
Yeah.
And we called ourselves the Human Speed Bumps.
Human Speed Bumps.
And we mimed along with guitars
you played
some MXPX,
maybe punk rock show.
I want to say, and but he came out and did
a full mime routine,
and it was amazing.
It was phenomenal,
absolutely amazing.
I don't know that I want to name. He is still alive. I don't know how he feels about anything, so I don't want to name drop. But suffice to say, very talented man,
actual talent,
talented in mimery, which feel how you feel about it. It takes skill.
It absolutely does.
So he brought those skills into workshops that then translated down into the youth group.
Okay.
Now, all of that preamble to say that is how 8th and 7th graders were taught to tell people the gospel, to share the good news of Jesus Christ, was through mime.
Okay. I'm tracking.
So we wore black. We had white face paint.
Thank goodness it was those colors and that arrangement. Sorry.
None of us were ever Prime Minister of Canada, so
we're fine.
We're fine. So that was, sort of what you did, and for the most part, those demonstrations weren't really done out in the world. They were done like, oh, hey, parents, come see what your kids are learning, yada yada. Unless you wanted to sign up for Mission Miami.
Mission Miami.
So that was a drive in church-owned vans.
So this is from Central Maryland
to Southern Florida. Multi-day trip. Probably 2 days to get there, 2 days to get back, and then however many days we were in
Where was
the
the
state.
stopover for you guys, by the way?
I think Atlanta area.
Okay.
Not the city, obviously, but in the general Georgia, Atlanta. I mean, we definitely made it past the Carolinas.
Okay.
Because that's probably about halfway.
Yeah, I would
Florida's
say,
a very north-south
southern South Kakalaki, northern
Georgia.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. I remember the peach, like a water tower that had peaches on it and stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Georgia. So you sign up, you get to go to Miami. There's some perks.
Well, when you sign up, did you have to fundraise?
You had to fundraise.
Okay.
So there were like group fundraisers that got divided out based on need, I guess.
Probably car washes at the church.
Car washes were a big one, bake sales, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So ways to, spend your weekend raising the funds to cover the expense of you going, feeding, lodging, a little bit of fun. Like they added Universal Studios as kind of like the big reward for your hard work is, you'll spend a day at Universal Studios, which was awesome. So we are taught how to do these different plays. So basically what goes, this is like 96, 95, somewhere around there. So the portable option was a boombox with D batteries, playing a CD that can only get so loud that we then act out. There's narration and audio cues and stuff. And there's 5 or 6 different plays that we do that sort of tell a gospel message. I remember vividly there was one about Paul and Barnabas in prison. There was one about hands, so like hands to Bill, and then like the hands of Christ being crucified, so these hands are for you. Like, so there were Bible stories and gospel message and all that stuff. So all fine. Yeah. And then we get where we're going, to Miami, Florida, in summer. It's 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah.
Still have to wear all black. Still have to wear face paint. And then we perform on the beach. Miami Beach. And then are told by our youth leaders, now go and talk to strangers about Jesus, you 13 and 12-year-olds.
Looking like a disheveled gang,
looking like a
from
low budget clown or like
the Warriors.
Yeah, you look like one of the gangs from the Warriors. Only not as intimidating because you're this big.
Right. I'd still be frightened if it's 90 plus,
right,
80+% humidity. Yeah.
And
on the beach,
and clown children start approaching me.
Yeah, like,
we're leaving.
Yeah,
we're leaving. Pack your bags. And totally unprepared for the seriousness of some of the topics that people will, throw back at children.
Oh, wow.
So I remember going up to this, seemingly kind old man and, whatever script we learned for pitching the gospel message. And the guy was like, well, I just don't see how a loving God can send people to hell. I'm just like, I'm 13. I got nothing. I don't have any follow-up. I wasn't schooled. I wasn't prepared for that. Like, that's... Or you want to have a debate with a 13-year-old? Because this is how it goes. You win.
Yeah. Dave stares, existential gazing, walks into ocean.
That probably would have been better. So yeah, I mean, that to say, I think there's some great stuff you can do. Missions work as a kid. I think there's some great opportunities to kind of get exposed to like the way people other than you live. I think
getting outside of the bubble,
getting outside of your bubble, especially if you leave, the West, if you go to like more developing nations, but that obviously there's security concerns and, make sure you go with a good team and yada, yada, yada. Painting the faces of 13-year-olds and telling them to go share the gospel. There's probably some training that they need and, some confidence and some,
I think if I'm putting on my adult leader hat, thinking, well, who's gonna, be mean to children?
Right.
We don't really need to train them. Just
who's gonna be mean to children? Adults.
Old guy.
Yeah, strangers will be mean to children. Pre-internet, consequence free. Like no one, they're not gonna wind up as a meme.
Yeah, no one's filming on their phone because you don't.
You could just be mean to a child.
If you find the guy with the camera at the beach, you call the police because he's not there.
He's not there with good intent. Yeah. No. But yeah, so it was just, again, it was just a really unique experience. I'm sure some people out there have experienced stuff like that. But it's also just, kind of a window into people that are not fit for the role. So you recall the leaders that I had.
Yeah.
And one of them, though, it was a husband-wife team, and the wife was just evil. Like, she was just pure evil.
She had a reputation.
Yeah. So, I went on this, like all fired up, like want to, show my faith to the world, trying to be a good Christian lad, yada, yada, yada. And we stopped at a local church for an event they were doing on the way back, and like, the the wife approaches me and like out of nowhere, like, nowhere, like we're in the middle of a worship service, and like she comes up to me and is just like, I know you're only on this trip because this girl you have a crush on's here, and like just starts railing at me, and I'm 13, I cried in front of my friends and the girl I had a crush on. And my best friend, his older sister, was one of the youth volunteer leaders, has known me my whole life. So she comes over to console me. I get from horrible to okay. The woman comes back, is like, I know you only cried so Bethany would come and pay attention to you. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I'm so glad I never had her. When we moved to this church.
When we moved to this church, you were already in high school.
I was already in high school.
You had, I think, Bruce's first year, or maybe, Bruce was there, and then Rob, and then, good dudes. But yeah, this woman was a nightmare. And again, so this is the cautionary tale, not just about the middle school mission. That's one thing, but cautionary tale to parents: don't just drop your kids off at youth group. Find out who's who.
Yeah,
get to know who these people are, because there's some monsters out there.
You know what I heard more than once as a child with these supposed leaders is when moments like that happen is don't tell your parents about this.
Don't tell your parents. Yep.
Yeah, and
clue.
Yeah,
clue.
Yeah, and I bet you that still goes on today.
Yes, it does. So just because someone has a title at a church doesn't mean they deserve it. Doesn't mean they're trustworthy. Like, do some vetting, parents. So yeah, that one's a bit of a downer.
A bit, but
again, it's we are the entire spread of humanity makes it into the churches just like it does into the real world. Yep. So you're gonna get your good, you're gonna get your bad. Don't let the bad ruin your whole outlook, because I could have walked away bitter my whole life and abandoned my faith.
Absolutely.
And
I've known people that's happened to.
I didn't. It is, the rock on which I stand. But yeah, you just can't let those. There's crappy people everywhere. Don't let the crappy people ruin the good thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
that's what I got.
Yeah. My only thought was, there was a comedian I remember one time talking about a missions trip where it was like a bunch of teenagers down in like Peru standing here with shovels, just not helping.
That's right. Yeah.
I forget who it was.
I remember that one too. Yeah, it may have been Bargatze. It may have been Gaffigan. It was one of the more family-friendly comedians.
Yeah, but I just remember laughing so much because,
Right, there's just not a ton you can do.
We're going to build a house for people that
underprivileged.
We don't know how to build a house.
I don't even know how to put on a coat of paint.
So you got like the two people that know what they're doing, and then there's a bunch of teenagers just getting in the way.
So I do have, just to end on a positive note from that trip, Universal Studios, where we got to go as our kind of big reward.
The only reason you went was to go to Universal Studios?
No, the only reason I went was because the girl I had a crush on. Clearly, the leader knew.
The only reason you went was to cry about the girl you had a crush on, so that
my
sister
lifelong friend's older sister, who I've known my entire life. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
So we went to Universal Studios. Hilariously, I had chipped my teeth, like both of them in half years before.
Ice skating.
Quite masculine. Yeah, masculine. And one of the caps broke off on that trip in front of the girl I had a crush on. So, woo! Go me.
I'm just thinking about that Whitest Kids You Know sketch. The guy who couldn't stop peeing.
Guys! It's not stopping! It won't quit! Great! Perfect! 10 minutes of constant peeing! And now when I come out for help, well, there's the girl I like. Hi. Did you like me before this? Would you like to go out with me now?
Oh, there's the girl I like.
Anyway.
Yup. Anyway, what happened later in the day? So me, Matt the Legend, Andrew, and then mutual friend Josh, who was just monotone.
Okay.
Cool dude, just not emotive at all. So I used to make fun of him because, 8th grade. I used to be like, Hi, I'm Josh. I won the lottery. Oh no, my mom's dead. Like, because he just didn't emote. So that was, So we're in line for a ride, the four of us, and this employee sees Josh, who just stone-faced. He's like, hey, are you having a good time? Yeah, I guess so. And then he's like, tell you what, how about you and your friends get to skip every line for the rest of the day? Just tell them so-and-so. I'm like, okay. And we got to skip every line. We rode so many rides because Josh could not emote. So,
dude, that is hilarious.
Yeah. No idea what became of that dude. I think last I heard he was married with kids. I mean, you lose touch with people, but yeah.
my firstborn.
My firstborn
this is the
happiest
day of my
life. The happiest day of my life. Oh no, my wife has ovarian cancer. Like, it's just, I hope she doesn't. That would be horrible.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's good to have friends who don't emote, apparently, when you're at a theme park.
I'm going to find one today.
Find one and then go to a theme park.
Yeah. Whenever I make it to, I want to check out that Epic Universe. Opens this year. Very excited. Yeah. Hopefully in the next couple of years I get to go.
Yeah.
Find a motionless
man or child. Yeah. Really, because no one cares about a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Cool.
Done and done. I'll rent them for a week.
Well, clearly we've strayed away from the holy into the crappy.
Yeah, that's what we do around here.
And unless you have anything to add, I think we're pretty much at the end of another successful chat.
Yeah. Hey, how'd we do on time this time? Our last two went kind of long.
We stayed under an hour and a half.
Hey, look at us.
Look at us. We're above an hour, under an hour and a half. We're finding a sweet spot.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
But thanks for everyone who's watching.
Yeah, we're getting more views than we thought we would. So that's cool. Thanks, guys.
Thought the longer form might be.
Also, thanks to Dave, who we didn't know was watching.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about you more if you comment more. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Hey, you want to sit in one of these other chairs? One of these? I hope you have a camera you can bring.
Yeah,
because we don't.
I guess I'm actually going to see him in a few hours. So
right on.
I still don't have a text message, so I have no idea where Chris is. He's probably in my front yard. I'm here. Where are you? I don't know why you'd be in my yard, not my driveway, but yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Have a good one. We'll catch you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.